Hello everyone, Riley here, and I have another Oscar video coming at you. This Sunday are the actual 90th Academy Awards. Really excited about them, and I'm going to give you my quick picks and predictions for all of the categories. Just a caveat, this is going to be all of the American feature categories because I just haven't seen enough of the foreign, short, or documentary categories to accurately give insightful comments on them. So for this video, I'm just going to be talking about the American-produced feature films. There are still a couple of films I haven't actually seen. Roman J. Israel Esquire, The Florida Project, All the Money in the World, War for the Planet of the Apes. So I'm not going to actually say those in my picks, but I may have them as my predictions. Without further ado, let's go on to Best Visual Effects. For Best Visual Effects, my pick, I'd say, is Blade Runner 2049. The effects were incredible in that film, and they really gave the world more depth and a lot more dimensions that it could have had. But for my predictions, I will actually say War for the Planet of the Apes. Haven't actually seen this one, but the effects in all of these movies are incredible, and I don't think any of them have actually won yet, so I think War for the Planet of the Apes will win as kind of just a prize for the franchise as a whole. So next, for Best Costume Design, my pick is Beauty and the Beast. The costume design for this film, even though the look of the Beast itself wasn't great, is incredible. And you really got wrapped into the period aspect of it with the fantastical elements. So the costume design, I think, looks incredible. However, I think that the award will actually go to Phantom Thread, because Phantom Thread is just more in the Academy's alley, and the costume design in that is incredible, and the entire movie is about fashion, so I just feel like costume design is up its alley. Next, for Best Production Design, I also have Beauty and the Beast in my picks, because the production design, the look of the castle, the look of the town, it just really is an immersive experience. But I'm going to say the Academy will give the award to The Shape of Water, because The Shape of Water is just a major contender, and the production design in that is really good, but it's a lot more small budget, and it's a lot more to do with the actual design than the scale, so I feel like the design in this film had a lot more weight behind it, so I feel like Shape of Water will probably end up winning this. For Best Makeup and Hair, my pick and my prediction is Darkest Hour. Gary Oldman's makeup and hair in this film is incredible, and it makes him basically unrecognizable in the role and completely transformative, which really helped in you not actually saying, oh, that's Gary Oldman up there, and you just saw Churchill. I would say Wonder is very close for second, but I still think Darkest Hour will take the prize. For Best Sound Editing, my pick and prediction is Dunkirk. The sound editing in this film is incredible. It keeps you on your toes the entire way through the movie, and it increases the tension, and it gives the film overall the mood that it has. And if it wasn't for the sound editing, I don't think the film would be nearly as effective as it is, and I think the Academy voters see that. However, for sound mixing, I would give the award to Blade Runner 2049, because I have a few issues with the sound mixing at the beginning of Dunkirk, with the gunshots towards the beginning, and I feel like it's a little overbearing at the beginning, but then it starts getting better after like 3 or 4 minutes into the film. So because of that, I'm going to end up giving it to Blade Runner 2049, whose sound mixing was incredible, by the way, but I still think that Dunkirk's going to win it with the Academy because it just has so much momentum in the sound categories that I don't see it losing anytime soon. Now, for Best Film Editing, both my pick and prediction, again, will be Dunkirk. The editing in this film is incredible. The pace that it has throughout, with the tension, with just the feeling of dread that you have throughout this entire film, has a lot to do with the editing. And I feel like this is one of the best edited films in a long time. For Best Original Song, my pick is This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. I think that song is just incredible. Even though the composition may not be the absolute best, the impact that it has on the movie as a whole is just profound, and it's the anthem for all of the ancillary characters in the film, which gives them the only sense of character motivation they have throughout the entire film, which is really disappointing because Keala Settle does an incredible job at singing and at giving the emotion in this song. However, I think that Remember Me from Coco will actually win the award because people just seem to like Coco better as a film, and that seems to be given some weight for some of the smaller categories nowadays, which is really disappointing. And I think that it should be on the category in its own merits, but the film has started becoming important into the actual awards for stuff like original song or editing or smaller categories like that. While Remember Me is an incredible song, and it does have a lot of good impact into the film, that is a criteria that I have for Best Original Song. So many of the times the original songs just play during the credits, or 15 seconds of them play during a random scene. That doesn't mean anything to the movie. For me, it has to actually have an impact on the film. And Remember Me does, so if it wins, I'll have no issues with it. For Best Original Score, my pick and prediction is The Shape of Water. I mean, Desplat did an incredible job composing the music for this film, and it just creates a fantastical yet grounded mood throughout the entire thing, and it makes it feel very storybook, fairy tale-ish throughout the entire time, which is fascinating. And the score just keeps you on moving, and even though the story may have some lulls in it, the score, I feel like, is one of the most driving factors driving you throughout the film, and the score is incredible, and it's just great music to listen to. So for Best Cinematography, please, please, please let Deakins win. He's my pick, and I slightly have him as my prediction. Deakins deserves an Academy Award really badly, and he's been churning out such great cinematography his entire career, and I think Blade Runner 2049 is just the pinnacle of that. And I feel like if people just didn't like the story, I think everyone can agree the cinematography of Blade Runner 2049 is top-notch. For Best Animated Feature, I have Coco as my pick and my prediction. Even though I think Captain Underpants was the best animated film of the year, it was not nominated. So I feel like Coco, it's pretty handily going to take it in the bag. I mean, there's just no momentum for any of the other movies, so I'd be utterly shocked if Coco didn't win. For Best Adapted Screenplay, my pick and my prediction is Call Me By Your Name. Call Me By Your Name had an incredible screenplay, and the way that they're able to capture the relationship, yes, it has a lot to do with the actors themselves, but the way that the story is composed helps alleviate some of the potential issues that the premise may have and the potential stereotypes that it may fall into. However, the way that the story progresses and just the ending in general and the dialogue that they use at the ending makes it all the more impactful, and I'm so grateful that it's the front runner to win at this point. Now for Best Original Screenplay, I went back and forth for this one for a long time, but my pick and my prediction is going to be Get Out, and Jordan Peele therefore. I almost gave it to Three Billboards for my pick, but I'm going to end up going with Get Out because the way that it incorporates the horror elements with the social commentary, with the humor, with the just character moments is so well done. And I've not seen a film meld genres and meld different elements of different genres quite this well in a really long time. And I believe that Jordan Peele will and deserves to be recognized for his effort in this category. Now for Best Supporting Actor, I have Sam Rockwell as my pick and my prediction for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. He's been winning pretty much everything, and I feel like he's pretty much a lock. And even though there were 4 performances in this category that I think were quite a bit better than Sam Rockwell's, his performance was still incredible, and it still was one of the best parts of this film, and I'll have no issues if he takes this award. For Best Supporting Actress, my pick would be Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird. I feel like her character is the strongest part of that film, and if her relationship with Saoirse Ronan didn't work, that film completely fails on all fronts. But the fact that her character really had a lot of depth and emotional weight behind her, and as a senior in high school, it's really easy for me to relate to Christine, aka Lady Bird, but for me to relate to her mother, sometimes even more than I related to Christine, says a lot about the writing of the character and about Laurie Metcalf's performance. However, I think it's pretty much a lock that Allison Janney is going to win the award for I, Tonya. I mean, she's incredible in the film. She's just not in it as much as I was expecting her to be. But she's been winning everything, and I'm completely fine if she wins this. She's incredible. She was my number 2 performance of the year for Best Supporting Actress, so no qualms for me. Now for Best Actress, I have as my pick Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water. I think she is amazing in this role and has such a depth to her. And since she has no dialogue, she has to rely on just pure acting ability and can't really rely on the writing of the dialogue that she's given. And I feel like she does a masterclass in this film, and I think that she has by far the single greatest scene of acting out of anyone this entire year. However, I feel like Frances McDormand's gonna win for 3 Billboards. She did incredible, so I'm not complaining by any means, but I just would have wished that Sally Hawkins would have gotten it over her. But McDormand is a worthy winner of this award. For Best Lead Actor, I was going with Chalamet for a while, and then I saw Darkest Hour, and then I'm like, no, you gotta go with Oldman. Oldman he's leaps and bounds above everyone else. No disrespect to the other nominees, but just Oldman's in a league of his own, and I do not see a possible way in which he doesn't win this award, so he is my pick and my prediction for this award. For Best Director, my pick is Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk. I feel like this film is a director's film, because the acting isn't, while it's good, isn't the standout, the writing isn't the standout, it is the direction, because the characters are very minimalistic, and it works for the film. But if the direction, the editing, and the cinematography of this film didn't work, this film fails. But the fact that this film is my number 2 favorite film of the year has almost everything to do with Christopher Nolan and the direction he gives. However, I think Guillermo del Toro is going to win it just because he's an older director and he's been around the block longer. And he's made a lot more of the Academy's darlings films like Pan's Labyrinth. So I just feel like it's kind of his time. And Shape of Water is an incredibly directed film. Don't get me wrong. The only issues I have with it are with the script. And I feel like the direction is incredible, just not quite as good as Nolan's. So I'm totally good that Del Toro's most likely going to walk away with this award this Sunday. Now for Best Picture, my pick is Get Out, which was my number 1 favorite film of this year. However, I don't think it really has a shot, so my leg in the horse, which has basically become a 2-horse race between Shape of Water and 3 Billboards, my leg is 3 Billboards, because I find that it's just overall has less issues, and even though it has that one scene that's just really, really bad in 3 Billboards, all the rest of it, I feel like the highs are way higher than the highs in Shape of Water, and I feel like since The Shape of Water has had a lot of press in the media with the backlash that it's just a stolen story, I feel like 3 Billboards is going to slightly eke out Shape of Water, but I feel like this is going to be similar to last year, a La La Land Moonlight situation, where they're going neck and neck, back and forth the entire time, and it's going to be a very close race. But I think, ever so slightly, 3 Billboards is going to eke it out, and I hope that 3 Billboards wins over Shape of Water, but Get Out and Dunkirk and Call Me By Your Name, I think were better films than both of them. I just personally don't see that much buzz coming from them, so I don't see a point in championing them because they're not going to win. They don't really have a shot. So, thank you all. I hope that you like this video, and on Sunday I will be having my live reaction to the Oscars. Oscar season's actually going to be over this week, but I will have some more reviews and editorial stuff coming after that. So comment down below. What were your picks? What are your predictions? And if you liked what you saw and you want to see more of me, just drop that like button down below and subscribe. Thanks.